everyone, welcome back. So I hope you all had a safe and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Today's the last day of our holiday, so back to work again tomorrow, yay. But that also means back to work doing stuff around here as well. We've managed to catch up, get all the yards under control and everything ready to go for the new year. So we're going to run around, show you where we're at with everything and catch us up and what we expect to be getting done in the first half of the year. Okay, we'll grab the camera and have a look around. Rightio, so we've been in, given it a bit of a cleanup up here, and down in the lower room down here, we've still got, where are we? Dylan's doors. Those ones over there need a little bit of filler and then a good block back, and they're ready to go into primer. And the XA fender over there waiting for me to get around to one last bit of sanding and put it in some primer. And then the goal with that is to let it sit for a week or two and shrink back, and then it'll be ready to block and put the sealer and first coat's colour on it. So that should get that knocked over and done, and we can see how it turns out. Now down here, there's the XK tucked away in there, and it's just waiting for the doors and the front two fenders to be finished. And then from there, that primer's had ages to sit, which is nice and solid, and it's all shrunk back. We'll get in and give that all a good longboard and guide coat and see how straight it is, do any little touch-ups, and it's nearly ready to go into colour. So down here, this thing, I've managed to track down plugs, leads, rotor button, cat, all the basics to get it to run. Now, it's been sitting, but it does start and run. So we'll go through and do a whole session on that one, getting it to start and run. The biggest question mark is going to be whether we can get a clutch pedal. I don't really mind if it's got no brakes. The park brake system on it works fine, and it's only going to be first gear crawling in the granny gear around here just to move it, but I do need a clutch. So if I can get the clutch working and it starts and runs, that'll get it out of the way so we can get into the back of this to scavenge the 9-inch out of it. So the body on that one is too far gone. It was a heap when it came in, but it's got a good limited slip drum brake 9-inch in the back that I want to take out, and it's going to get cut down and shortened down to go into the XA. The whole idea of doing that is if I can cut it down to, say, the same track width as I think it's an XW XY one you use in the back of the XA BCs, what it'll do is let us get the 15B8s with the 265s up under the rear quarters without touching. And they would just clear now if I lowered the car, if I rolled the lip from about there to there, but I don't want to. Hey girl, where you been? You've been in the mud. Oh, you're feral. I don't want to because the rear quarters and the rear guard lips are really good, and the stainless is good. Good girl. So the whole idea of shortening a 9-inch up to go in there, it's got heaps of room for the wheel to go in and clear. So I think it's about 20 mil aside. We can suck that in, which will then possibly even let us go for a bigger dish offset wheel later on if we wish. But for now, I just want to get those under there so we can tuck it down, because the back of the car's probably got to come down to 3 inches, maybe 4, and the front's got to come down 2. So that'll probably be one of the first projects early on in the year, if I can get the F-Truck to run. So yeah, if the F-Truck gets a clutch pedal to it and I can actually limp it out and get access to the Mustang, then that'll be one of the first projects we do early on in the year. Get that all cut up, shortened up in there and dummy fitted, so we see how it goes. And the other project is going to be down in the room down here. We've got a used bonnet, XA bonnet. Where is she? That one down there. Now, it's pretty solid. It's got a few little pinholes in it and stuff like that, and someone's done a repair on one side and stuff like that, but for what you can find in XA panels now, it's pretty good. So yeah, that's going to be the panel, or sorry, that's going to be the bonnet that we sacrifice and cut up for the tunnel ramp, and the factory one will stay nice and clean and straight. We'll paint it at the same time as we paint the car, and it'll be hung up on the wall as a spare. If we get defected with the tunnel ram, we can swap it over and the car's back to stock again. So yeah, that'll be the one we cut up, and I'm going to try to make a punch die. So that whole idea between doing that is I want to put the XA GT flutes into the bonnet scoop, or the bonnet scoops inserts into the bonnet, and they were recessed in. They weren't flush on. They weren't proud of the top of the bonnet. They were actually flush with the bonnet, and they had like a couple of mil recess around them all the way around, and they flushed in. So I've just got to hunt around and see if I can find some scrap metal. Probably, I don't know, probably a piece of 3/8 and maybe some 1/2 inch that I can cut the templates out of that I want to make, and work it out if I'm going to make it a clamping one with through bolts, or if I'm going to make it one that I can put in. And I've got a frame of an old press that I want to actually convert to make into a jig for like a louver punch and something like that. If I make a die up, that'll sit in there, so the whole skin can go into the bonnet, into the press frame, and we can punch the die recesses in there. So a bit more thinking on that, a bit more hunting around to see what kind of scrap steel I can find at the local steel merchants. And yeah, once I've got the dies worked out in my head and cut out, and we'll show you that too. So there's the bonnet there, the diff, and then it's pretty much, as far as I can see, just getting straight into it. But first things first, we've got to get Dylan's XK finished and out, so there's room. His is going to be the 2 rear doors are the only 2 doors left to finalise and get blocked back and straight. And then there's the 2 fenders, one of which we'll show you in the next couple of weeks. The right-hand front one, I think it was, right-hand front corner above the headlight eyebrow, it's been stoved in years ago. It's pretty terrible, but we're going to try and shrink it back, knock it all back out, and what we can't get out, then make a replacement piece to go in there. Fingers crossed we can do it. It's pretty smooth curve, but we've never done it before, so we'll have a look and see if we can do something to fill that. So yeah, so they'll be the next ones coming, and once they're all done and the fenders are all in primer, it's a case of blocking his whole car back and getting the color and clear on. Then he can take that off home. It can sit around waiting to be blocked and buffed, because it'll need to sit for a couple of months before we do that. And I can get into things like the XA, doing the sheet metal on it instead of doing things like the diff and stuff like that. So we'll get in and get the sheet metal on the XA done, and possibly even get the wagon back home again from work, so it's not sitting around the workshop, and finished a couple of little touch-up repairs on that one, so it's finished and back together again instead of sitting around in pieces. So hopefully, all going well, the first half of this year is cleaning up all the odds and sods and getting the little bits and pieces done, and a few of the cars back together again. And that thing out there, where is it? That one, she starts this year, and hopefully by the end of the year it's finished, painted. Maybe not the motor in it that we want for the final motor, but it'll be a driving, running car in the color that we want. And then it'll just be things like the interior and the motor that go together. So, all right, we're going to leave it from here. I'm going to get everything ready to go back to work tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see us on the weekend with the first couple of bits we get into. Probably be that fender, finishing that off, and then seeing if we can get that F-Truck to start and run. Or we might be doing Dylan's doors. We'll just see if he's got the kids this weekend, or if it's a weekend free where he can hang around here and get some work done. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you have a happy Christmas and a great New Year. We'll see you soon. Bye.